between you guys, that would be awesome.
Or
And we were just talking about how you just hit record and you go. And so yesterday we I want to start off by saying yesterday we had audio gremlins, which
audio
meant
drum.
that it shot our entire recording. So David, we recorded an entire conversation and had nothing to show for it. Actually, that's not true. We had only
Word.
my audio to show for it. So had we hit published, it would have been very literally one-sided conversation.
Yeah, it
Oh,
didn't
that's
even
funny.
pick up my video. It was just Daniel sitting there being like, "Hey, uh-huh, oh, really? Yeah," like the whole time.
Terrible.
I have a similar story for you. This was when I took over for like because we paid the intern while he was here to do all this stuff. I was like, hey, you're leaving because you got to go to school. It's like, help me. So we got all the technical pieces right. So I was like, just walk me through, how do you do this setup? What do you think about for lighting? What are you doing for, mics, all that stuff? And so we got most of it, but one thing I didn't anticipate is I was like, well, we'll just use my phone. So my work phone is like a lockdown phone. It's so locked down I can't even download any apps. So the
Wow.
file's so large.
Wow.
Like I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know how to like
Get it from one
get
device
it from
to
one
another.
device to the other.
Yes.
Just know these things.
It's true. We're in 2025 and we still have moments where we don't record half of our episode. But anyway, Daniel, I'm excited to introduce you to my friend David.
Yeah.
The very first time.
Hey Daniel.
And
Hey, man.
old and new friend because we connected years ago, probably 7.
Yeah, I think it was 7 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
When I was at HCU, you were Vanderbloemen.
Yep. And HCU is Houston Christian University. Vanderbloemen was where I worked for 9 years. So we had connected that way. And then didn't talk for, well, I saw you at a conference a few years ago.
Conference.
Yep.
Head of school Veritas.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were one of the vendors there.
I was speaking, actually.
You were speaking.
Yeah. No.
Attended your session. That's awesome.
And then you texted me out of the blue a few months ago, and we're both in this world of really trying to serve purpose-driven leaders really well and in very different ways. So me through executive coaching and David through wealth management. And so we're cooking on a few ideas. And so Daniel, you and I had trouble connecting today. And I was like, hey, you want to have a special guest? And because
I'm special, all right.
Yeah,
That's all I just found out.
David is full of energy and ideas. I mean, even just coming to this co-working space where he is, I like met half of the floor that aren't even I'm like, oh, so they're your coworker? He's like, oh no, he's just like does this company over here. It's anyway, I've like met all these new friends today because that's who David is. Is just a very loving, engaging person. So we're glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
You don't know who Seth
All right.
is, right?
I knew of his name from you, and I think I watched like part of a podcast, maybe the one you all did with like, does your dad make like frequent appearances? I feel like your dad like makes frequent appearances.
He's only technically been in one, but we talk about him a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's probably why I was like, sure, I feel like, okay. But so I think the one where he actually made some type of visual or otherwise appearance.
Yep. Well, yep. I remember. Yeah, I was
That's
in
it.
Nashville.
That's it.
That's awesome.
That's the only thing.
Well, welcome to Seth Said What.
David, he's gonna love that you just mentioned him. That's fantastic. So shout out, Dad. But also, we do have a bit of an initiation, right, Holly? So I want you to walk him through that.
Come on.
We do. So our initiation is we say that our podcast is called Seth Said What, but really it's called Seth Said What.
Seth said what?
Nice.
That was great.
You passed. You did great. Yeah. Okay, so what we do is we jump in and we read the article, which today it's really short, which is awesome.
I like this.
We like it when it's short. And so we read it and then we just riff on it. What comes front of mind as we think about leadership, business, entrepreneurship.
Love it.
So no prep needed. Daniel, you want to read it?
I can read it. Yeah, it's great. So today's called Before We Learn a New Skill. So here we go. The pre-work involves important choices. And these are all quotes. These are 5 bullet points. They're all quotes. Am I willing to be wrong about the fact that I'm a person who doesn't know how to do this? Am I open to feeling incompetent as I discover a new skill is possible, but I don't know how to do it yet? Will I be resilient enough to recover if I try to do this and fail? Can I temporarily be an imposter, someone who acts like they know the skill but doesn't? Not quite. Am I eager to be friends with the person who I'm going to become if I make this shift? Skip these steps, and you might as well not bother to begin.
Wow.
This is a good one for you, David, because you spent how many years in education?
Oh man, I think 13 plus years in education, and
Yeah.
now I'm in the corporate world.
So you're learning lots of new skills.
Yeah, so good.
That's
We had you
awesome.
had lots of mms throughout that. So what resonated with you?
I did. It just, I mean, I love these set of this embodies to me exactly why people don't start, right?
Mm.
Because they
Mm,
kind of know, right? They might not have articulated it quite like as well as Seth did. Maybe it's as simple as like, well, I'm fearful because I'm used to having whatever it is, right? It's once we become an adult, this is the fixed mindset idea. I'm sure you guys know, right?
Yes.
Carol Dweck. Kids, they're expected to make a lot of mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes, and somehow after a while, we like adults socialize them out of that and ourselves out of it. So we're just so afraid of being mistakes and being wrong, quote unquote, that we have to like play it safe. And this is why most people don't. So to have this set of kind of questions to think about, like, am I okay with this? Is so good, because it makes you kind of really think like, wow, do I even want to try this? So my only worry is like people read this like, oh hell no, I don't want to try this.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, I'm not gonna bother. But probably by self-selection, if you're, if you read someone like Seth, I imagine these individuals would be like, yep, this is exactly the type of stuff I had to kind of either work through or stumble through. Or so yeah, that's kind of what I think of. Like, I think of actually also even in my life, or my wife, she's we've been both fortunate enough where we've been able to lead Christian nonprofits, and part of it is that especially when we were earlier on, whether before you even led anything, but like taking on major tasks that were like huge. We're like, thank God we didn't know exactly what we were doing. We never would have started.
That is so true.
Like,
Yeah.
if we knew it was so hard,
Would have said,
heck no.
yeah,
Like, no, I'm good. Choose someone else.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm curious, do you guys agree with his last statement? Skip these steps and you might as well not bother to begin. Like, is
yeah.
it, should you actually not begin if you don't take time to think through these things? What do you guys think?
Well, I think what that is it's a funny way. It's a very Seth Godin way of saying this is where you must start, so that 6 months from now, when you feel like I'm going to choose a bullet, when you feel incompetent, that you don't believe the lie that you're incompetent. When you feel like an imposter, that you've already tackled that emotionally. You've maybe surrounded yourself with voices that are going to say like, "Hey, you've got this," and it's not going to be perfect, and we know that, but you've got this. So I think it's saying if you decide to skip these steps, then you're going to be so rife with imposter syndrome and uh, and self doubt that you might as well not even start. So it's just, I think it's just a strong. It's not saying you can't start without considering these. It's just saying it's almost like he could have said, take it from a guy who started a lot of things. You have to address these things first.
Yeah, or maybe it's like if you want to keep going, start here. I like how you're reframing that, Daniel, because I at first read that last statement. It was like, no, Seth, like we
Start.
want people to just
That's right.
start, like lower the barrier and
Yeah,
just encourage. Because even if it is messy, or you do, I think use maybe the word like fumble or mumble through, that it's worth it on the other side. And so, but I like
yeah.
how you're saying it's like, um, you will be able to anchor back in your why if you
Hmm.
start with these questions.
Yeah. I think about it in kind of exactly. I totally agree with everything both of you just said. In terms of it's interesting to think about. like the idea of it's almost expectation setting is what I think he's doing for people who hopefully already have an inclination of wanting to get into it and starting something and just realizing, look, it's going to be really, really hard in the very beginning. Period. There's very few instances, like I thought about, like, for example, when one of the thoughts that I've like given up on, like that's just a bad idea, is like, hey, showing up in a relatively new space or trying to learn a new skill and just being great at it suddenly. It's like that is very few and far in between, unless it's a very simple skill that anyone can kind of like get good at.
Yeah.
And so to reset that type of mindset, I think is really, really helpful. Like, for example, in management, right? You both, like in either been managed or manage people. One of the things that I would help coach a new manager and doing is like, look, first of all, management is coaching. Second of all the research says that when you first start trying to coach, you're going to suck at it.
Yes, you're going to suck at
right?
coaching.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So tell your people too, like this is a new skill for me.
For you. Yeah. Buckle up.
But all the research says if you stay consistent with it, it's going to get better, and then you're going to deliver results for your company. So I wish it wasn't until like earlier this year that I think I was reading through a book about coaching. I was like, oh my gosh, I really needed this before I actually started to manage. But it's just like setting expectations. I think that's what this kind of does.
Yeah, it's so true for yourself and others. Yeah.
It's cool.
Awesome.
Did a single one of these bullets stand out for each of you individually? Like I have a favorite, and I'm curious if maybe one you have a favorite too.
Can I pick two?
Yeah, we're making up this game, so absolutely.
Okay. I would say the resilient one. Will I be resilient enough to recover if I try to do this and fail? And because I've seen that in my own story. Like I think about some really hard days a few years ago. I got promoted to a role at my last company, and on paper it was a dream job. And then I got a few months in, and part of it was my own leadership, and part of it were things outside of my control where I was just overwhelmed with anxiety and tears. I mean, I would cry almost every Saturday was just full of tears. And it was just I think back to that Holly, like I wish that I could just like talk to her and say, which actually goes to my second one, which is, am I eager to be friends with the person who I'm going to become if I make this shift? I don't want to be friends with that Holly that was at that time. Like I think back to that and then like I'm proud of that Holly, I think maybe. But I also wish that I could tell that Holly like it's not your burden to carry, at least alone. You have a part of the burden, but you don't have all of it. It's not all on your shoulders, and it's going to be okay, and you're going to be stronger and a better leader through this. And I want to be friends with the Holly now. The Holly then was just so overwhelmed with anxiety that it was miserable. And so anyway, those are my two favorite. What about you guys?
Yeah, well, can I just comment on that?
Yeah.
It's more of a question, I guess, is part of it because you had the expectation that like, look, I've succeeded in my former role.
Yes.
So sure, there's learning to be done, but I'll pick it up quickly and I'll succeed quickly. Was that part of the mindset, and did that contribute to like the anxiety and the pressure that you felt?
Oh, absolutely. I thought because it's so much easier to point fingers when you're not the one that's carrying the burden. So I was like, oh yeah, these are all the things that I would do different. I can see all the answers. And then you get in there and you realize it's a lot more complicated, and there's a lot of external factors that are out of your hands and that you can't control. And my biggest learning from that season was I assumed that I had the trust of the team because I worked with them, but they didn't report up to me. And so I just like went in with my very energetic personality and made a lot of changes very quickly. Didn't take the time to bring the team along and build that trust because I assumed I had it. And if I could go back, I would have done it very differently.
Yeah, thanks for that. And man, that's so good. I have so many other questions I want to ask, but just the comment of like,
for another day.
That's right. Thanks for sharing that.
leadership lessons Holly's learned, mistakes I've made podcast.
Well, I think any good leader, honestly, who's tried anything, right? Like that's what I've realized, right? Like and I don't know if you've had a similar experience, Daniel, but like if you had people who like if they've never really as a leader had not just a little bit of a hard time, but incredible hard time doing something, it's because they didn't do anything new, right? Like you can maintain and still have it be okay. Just like, oh, I'm not gonna just, I don't know, create ripples or mess with things. And I have never seen a leader, never, who's tried to do something uh, important and new, who hasn't faced even very skilled ones an immense amount of just uphill battle, right? With their own friends sometimes. And especially sometimes with their own friends. Right?
That's a great point. That's a great point, David. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
What was your favorite, man?
David, did you pick one?
Yeah, I really like so am I open to feeling incompetent? As I discover it, I'm like, right, when I hear about that, like that's the last thing I want to feel. But to feel incompetent. And what's been interesting, I've had experiences, and maybe you've had too, where there's so much after a threshold of like new stuff thrown at you, you seem to be incompetent at everything, right? First season, I was like, how do I suck at the things I know I'm good at? Yeah. How is that possible? Right? So that feeling of like, right? Feeling, yep, you're gonna feel like a very much incompetent beginner in any new skill, especially if your comparison group is people who've been doing it for a while. So they also sucked at the beginning. You just didn't see it. Right? Like,
so true.
You just never almost never show up and like, all right, I'm here to dominate. It's just like, it doesn't happen like that. So that one really stuck out.
That's good. Mine would be one of Holly's. That last one. Am I eager to be friends with the person who I'm going to become if I make this shift? And one reason I like it is I think it's actually it goes both ways. So I'm eager to be friends with the more resilient me, the more confident me. I'm like David. I'm on like the word precipice is coming to mind. I like to use big words that I'm not exactly sure what they mean, but I feel like I'm gonna go with it. I'm kind of on a precipice, kind of a moment here of stepping into a next chapter. And so I'm so excited to be friends with the person who doesn't feel how I do right now.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome, man.
And it's also, I think it's also a bit of a cautionary tale to not to be someone that is the person I want to be friends with. I didn't say that well. It's like be careful in how these next steps form you, I think. So am I eager to be friends with the person I'm going to become? I can become a more resilient, a more confident, just rooted in more of who I'm, my identity and who I'm meant to be, and expressing that. I'm excited for that. I am excited to also not become a person who's full of pride and a person who thinks I did it myself, and which I think is maybe the shadow side of someone who's built something. The temptation is to think I'm a self-made person and I did it myself, and it's like I'm eager to not be friends with that person. So who am I eager to be friends with? I don't know. That was a lot, but I kind of feel like there's almost kind of two ways to read that. And I'm excited for I'm excited. I'm just excited to be that person and be friends with that person.
Yeah. And what's also interesting is, this is fascinating because like I read positivity into the bottom one, but Daniel, what you're saying is like,
yeah, I didn't read any positivity when I first read it. I was like, oh.
That is really interesting. Like I didn't even think about it being a negative thing, like, which is probably a personality wiring. Like I'm kind of a, what is that called? Eternal optimist. Like I'm like, I can't wait to be friends with the Holly that builds her empire and like builds a company that's thriving and thriving people, right? But the alternative could be I'm like the burned out, exhausted, resentful, um, miserable, negative person to be around. And we get to choose. That's what you're saying, Daniel. Like we get to choose who we become
Yeah.
on the other side of this. So yeah, I wasn't even thinking in that
Yeah.
direction.
And I
But David, you took the negative side of that?
Oh, totally. I'm like, because like when I think of like even just in the past, right? Like there've been it's interesting. We're just like I think a lot of us are just wired to like see negative things about ourselves, right? Like there was so much I could have picked of like versions of myself that were positive, but immediately my mindset tends to go like, oh gosh, like either the pieces are still with me, but made me more salient previously that didn't work through. And it's interesting because even though here is where I've changed, right? Because in the past, my approach would have been much more like almost like a disdain, like, or like embarrassment or shame, like, oh, God, that David, oh my gosh, right? But now, I think just because I've lived through some life and some hard life, it's much more a sense of compassion. It's like, hey, it's okay, right? Anyone would feel this way. And like, yes, how you're feeling, let's just talk about it, right? It's interesting if I were to somehow go back and coach at this moment my younger self,
Yep.
especially in areas or just times the times I'm like, wow, this isn't going well for your life. You want to talk about it? All right. I think it would be much more of a sense of like compassion towards it, which is just really interesting. The last thing I thought of was, I mean, if I were to guess, like both you, Holly, and Daniel, I don't know you as much, but it's just from the time I have, like there's you probably both identify with being achievers, right? Like getting things done that you like care about, right? So Holly, yes, and me, yeah, okay. So I got some nods from Daniel. The I think in particular for achievers or people who like to achieve, and especially if you've had a history of it, it is just so easy to be like hard on yourself when you feel like even if you're like actually doing pretty well, it's like, oh, why am I not succeeding faster? But especially if you feel like in your own standard of success, whatever that looks like, that you're not at that point, I think it's especially hard for achievers to live up to that.
Yeah.
And be like, golly, like, because we're many times just like most humans are, we're our worst critic, right?
Yes.
So like, okay, I might not present as this, but like, my goodness, like, like I don't think whatever you thought about me, I've thought of that and worse.
Yes.
And more frequent.
Yeah.
I think that is interesting and like hard, right? Versus adopting like just a sense of, yep, I don't know, redefining what success means. And like sometimes success is showing up.
Yep.
It's like, wow, that went terribly, but success in this instance was just literally showing up because that's how hard it was.
100%. That's like the whole I'm listening to Brené Brown's The Gift of Imperfection right now. And that is the whole book, right? What you just said. It's so good. Self-compassion and just having the courage to show up is what takes courage and what most people don't do. So good. Okay, you want to wrap us up?
Okay. Well, I was going to throw it to you. Actually, I was going to say I mean, just this little amount of time we've had to hang out, David. It already seems like you are a wealth of experience and wisdom. So I want you to, or maybe Holly can brag on you. Let's plug how people can reach out to David and interact with him more. Whatever you're up to, David. Like, let the people know. Seth said, "What nation?" Let them know.
I feel like it's like
And
do y'all watch Hot Wings? Elliot and I love watching or what's it? Hot Ones. Hot Ones. Anyway, and he's like, look at that camera and that camera and that camera. And
that's right. That's right.
so there you go, David.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then you wrap us, Holly.
Okay.
Thanks. Well, first, this has been so fun.
I'm so glad
thank you.
Office at like 2:30, and it was like, oh yeah, you want to be on a podcast at 3:30? Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely, I do. So the really, I mean, LinkedIn's great. Email's great. David at Cove davidwm.com or david.q.hao@gmail.com is fantastic. And so those are just fun ways to reach out to me. I'm like we said earlier, I've been in higher education, Christian higher education, for the majority of my professional career. 13 years. Worked at Houston Christian University and the University of St. Thomas as their chief student affairs, chief student success officer. And then, speaking of taking risks, right, Dan, you were talking about kind of new chapters, and I took on a head of school position. That was interesting. That was new. That was hard. That was so like good, right, and in a good hard way. And so now I'm in a different field. Ironically, so I went to grad school right after Baylor and went to Boston College Law School. Didn't practice for 15 years. So life has a funny way of being just ironic. Being part of Cove is actually what got me to practice law for the first time, which is fun. So I'm a licensed attorney again. And yeah, that's a little bit. And
and your role here is head of growth, right?
So yeah, I'm the chief compliance and engagement officer.
That's right. Yeah.
And their general counsel.
Which is like, you've gotten to experience this. Like, David is the last person you would think is like a compliance, like boring compliance guy, because literally he's like mayor. We were walking around like, you're like mayor of this co-working space. But I think that's what's cool is like how God is using your background and your gifts of knowledge, but also the personality that he's given you to just connect so well with people. And then I know I've gotten to meet Sarah, who's the CEO of Cove Wealth Management, and she just seems like someone who sees the best in people and like gives them the opportunity to shine and take risks and fail forward and learn and grow. And so how cool that you get the opportunity to like bring parts of your world together into this new thing that you've never done before and try new things and live out exactly what we were just talking about.
I understand that. No, I'm a brown nose. I'm gonna take this off.
No,
real quick.
Me too much on this podcast.
So about you and also about Sarah. So first,
yes, talk about Sarah. Don't talk about me.
I was gonna talk about but the thing with Sarah, and I'll play this clip right for her so I can get nice, brownie points.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, by the way, I'd like to renegotiate my contract. No, she is I don't actually know if I've said this to her, but she has actually been, and I've had so many good bosses. She has been by far the best, right? Like, which is saying a ton because again, I've had so many great bosses giving me opportunities, but just the way what you said, how she creates kind of like the culture, right? Letting people like do areas, where they're playing to their strengths and making sure, this is we're working with excellence. And so all of those pieces, she's just so grounded in that. And so she's been the best leader I've actually had the opportunity to work for. So beyond just the brown nosing.
That's
awesome.
But to really cool. Authentically really mean that. And I don't know, absent this podcast, I actually might not have ever said that to her directly. So I'll play this clip for her.
Yeah, now you can hear it.
There you go.
All right, well, everybody, we'll go to SethSaid.com. Check out Cove Wealth Management here in Houston. But do you guys serve everybody, like people around the country, or just here in Houston?
Yeah, across the country. You know, we're looking for families. Usually a lot of people ask, like, do you have a minimum, of like you have kind of assets under management? The answer is no. Our typical clients will typically have about $500,000 or more in investable assets. We also do some financial planning, and ideally, we love to have clients actually who join us on a journey of like giving. So we have a philanthropy arm. It's not even an arm. It's just baked into the organization.
Like a value.
Yeah.
Specifically in the city of Houston, resourcing organizations who are serving under-resourced kids.
That's right.
In particular, which is really cool.
So the firm actually, because of the values of our kind of owners, Corey and Sarah, that we give away a substantial percentage of our revenue. So it's not even just profits, to those causes. And we love it when people, our clients, they don't have to, right? join us, but we love it for those individuals if we can financially plan where they want through their lifetime to be really giving as they go. So since we've been tracking it, we've given away between the firm's money and tracking kind of what our clients have given. We've given away in the last 10 years about 11 million. So
Wow.
11 million, right? And we're not like a
Incredible.
dollar firm.
Yeah,
Right?
no,
So
yeah.
it's mission oriented, and it's finding those people who really believe in that, where, we want to increase, of course, their wealth. And while doing so, we want to invite them into this journey of giving away their wealth so they help build up their communities.
Yeah, I love it.
Amazing.
All right, well, thanks for being here, David.
This was fun.
And now you're gonna
Thanks, David.
Yeah. Daniel, thanks so much. It was nice. Hey, since we have
Yeah,
each other's email now, we'll have to keep in touch.
that's right. All right.